In this video, we're going to work the first part of problem 4 from this year's midterm, fall 2011. And in the next ones, we'll work parts B and C. So the question is, among male Penn students, 5% are obese, body mass index greater than 30, and 28% are overweight. So that's the part we're going to look at for the first question. So let's just mark that. So that's, oops, all right. This is what we care about. 5% are obese, and that corresponds to a BMI of greater than 30, and 28% have a BMI of greater than 25. So how do we do this? Well, notice that this 5% here, that's a percentile. This 28%, that's a percentile. And we know what BMIs they correspond to. So which problem is that? This is a normal curve problem. Normal curve problem. So what do? Well, we say that this guy corresponds to the 72nd percentile. So our picture looks like this. So 28% are overweight. So this looks like this. Overweight. And 5% are obese. So we'll just draw another line out here, and we know that's obese. Well, we know since it follows a normal curve, we know the z-scores corresponding to these two values. And what are those z-scores? Well, the 72nd percentile, if we use a table, 72nd percentile corresponds to 0.6 SDs, and the 95th, remember we're doing 5% are obese means that's the 95th percent, 95% are less than that, right? So 95th percentile corresponds to about 1.65 SDs. Remember, that means standard deviations away from the mean. So we need to solve for the SD of the BMI for male Penn students. Well, since these are standard scores, we know that the 1.65 is equal to the standardized score. So that corresponds to BMI of greater than 30. We're given 30, so 30, and then that'll be minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. So minus, let's call it M, divided by SD. And we also have 0.6 equals 30, and then minus the mean divided by the SD. Putting your unknown guys in blue for ease of reading. So we have these two equations. Remember, these are the standardized scores, and so what we really care about is the values of mean and SD, but we don't need mean. So what we can do first is multiply through. So we can get SD, multiply that by 1.65. Let's just make that a little bit clearer. SD times 1.65 is equal to 30. I want to make that green. 30 minus the mean, and then we want SD, right? We're multiplying through SD times 0.6. 0.6 is equal to, oh, this shouldn't be 30, this should be 25, so I made a mistake there. 25, that's 25, because that is the actual number that's given to us. 25, and that's 25 minus the mean. So we can just subtract these two equations from each other, right? We don't really care about the mean. So if I take this equation and subtract this equation from it, the means cancel. And so what I wind up with is SD times 1.05 is equal to 5. So if I divide by 5 by 1.05, so 5 divided by 1.05, I get about 4.8, rounded to tenths. So in the next part of the video, we'll do part B.